connected.
Venkat, all okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All is okay, ma'am.
What happened then?
I will check it, ma'am.
Okay.
I think some issue from Zoom application.
Okay, so the others have to log in still. Mr. Naresh Geli and Mr. Srinivas Gerimela, Premchand Kamkaria.
I believe, madam, you have ended the meeting for all.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, somebody was leaving the meeting and he ended the meeting for all. Host has ended the meeting. That's why it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, even I know that the meeting.
Yes, in the beginning also I have faced the same problem. I will check it.
But just ensure that it doesn't happen in middle of the program.
Yes, yes, sure.
So, a very good morning to one and all on this Saturday morning. We are looking forward to organizing a very good session today. Considering the current pandemic, we feel the topic is extremely relevant and we do hope that our members benefit from the meeting. Welcome to CA Atul Kumar Gupta and Mr. CA Dayaniwas Sharma. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and agreeing to interact with our members. And for the benefit of our members, we request you to post all your questions in the chat box, which, we have both the chairs from the IDC committee, Mr. Srinivas Gerimela, and from the corporate law committee, Mr. Naresh Geli, who would probably take one by one after the session, after the speakers have spoken. And before we begin the session, we would like to show a short film about FTCCI, which will give you an overview of what the Federation is. And if you're still not a member, I urge you to take up our membership. Can we have the film?
Yes, wait.
Voice is not coming.
The largest business organization of Telangana state. With a legacy of excellence, the voice of the industry, representing the interests of 25,000 businesses of all sizes, sectors and regions. Empowering trade through advocacy, solution and standard setting. Opening new avenues for unprecedented growth. Laying the foundation for an industrial transformation in the state of Telangana. Now, poised for the next century and beyond. The Federation of Telangana Chambers of Commerce and Industry, FTCCI. Together, let's rewrite the vision for a progressive future.
Thank you so much. I now invite our President, Mr. Ramakant Inani, to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Ms. Khyati. CA Sri Atul Kumar Gupta, President ICAI, CA Sri Dayaniwas Sharma, Central Committee Member ICAI, Sri Srinivas Gerimela, Chair Industrial Development Committee of FTCCI, Sri Prem Kankaria, Chair Banking, Finance and Insurance Committee, FTCCI, Sri Naresh Geli, Chair, Corporate Affairs and IBC Committee, FTCCI, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome you all for this important webinar on rebooting the MSMEs through financial re-engineering. The industry and business activities have been adversely affected due to the second wave of the pandemic, causing uncertain market conditions and restrictions on economic activities. Indian economy registered a negative growth rate for the year 2021. The hope of recovery during this financial year also is erased with the second wave of COVID-19 hitting the economy harder. A robust MSME sector can ensure quick recovery and accelerate the growth rate provided they receive the financial or stimulus in adequate quantities, and also by re-looking at their business processes and re-engineering various areas. Financial re-engineering is a critical to stay afloat in the crisis time and also for overall improvement of financial health. This process of financial re-engineering is of looking at financial sources, going for innovative products and better management. It involves or speeding up business income, decreasing or slowing down business expenses, minimizing working capital requirement, etc. to sustain and grow. I am pleased to note that we have participants from other states too, and this clearly signifies the importance of the topic in present day circumstances. I thank CSC Atul Kumar Gupta and CSC Dayaniwas Sharma for accepting our invitation, and we are privileged to hear you, sir. Hearty welcome to all the participants and wish you all an enlightening session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Inani. May I now invite Mr. Srinivas Gerimilla, Chair of our IDC committee, to kindly deliver the introductory remarks.
Good morning. Thank you, Khyati. Thank you, President Sir. Guest of honor today, Mr. Atul Gupta, Mr. Dayaniwas Sharma, the Chair of Banking Finance Committee and Corporate Law, Mr. Naresh Kali and Mr. Prem Kankaria, CEO and Deputy CEO, and all the members who are listening in. A very good morning to all of you. The first wave of pandemic was like a bolt out of the blue, and barely did we start to pick up our threads, bits and pieces and started to think of business. The second wave hit us like a tsunami, almost giving us a deathly blow, both to our health, psychological and economic well-being. MSMEs have often been called the backbone of the country, as it is the second largest employer after agriculture, contributing almost 1/3 to Indian GDP. And this backbone now lies with its back bent and a few places fractured or broken. Government of India has announced many Atmanirbhar schemes, but our statistics convey that only 15 to 18% have actually taken some benefit of it, while many haven't because they were looking at income protection rather than taking loans and furthering their business. I would not like to speak now much and wrap it up because we would like to listen to speakers today. So the important lesson we want to learn today from our eminent speakers is it just enough to seek help from the government, or can we leverage our abilities to get back to business continuity and then on to growth phase? History has taught us that opportunities always lie after a catastrophe, and hence post-pandemic, at least we expect a tremendous rise in the growth of MSMEs, and let us utilize that. On that positive note, I would request Mr. Naresh Kali to introduce our distinguished and eminent guests of honor today. Thank you.
President of FTCCI, Ramakant Inaniji, speakers for the day, C. Atul Kumar ji and C. Dayaniwas Sharma ji, and co-chair of the committees in FTCCI, Premchand Kankaria ji and Srinivas sir, and the officers of FTCCI and members. Morning to each one of you. It's indeed a great privilege to invite Atul Kumar Gupta ji for this webinar. We've been planning on this webinar for the last 4-5 months, and I'm very happy that we're able to do today. Friends, it gives me great pleasure in introducing the speaker, Sri Atul Kumar ji, to all the August gathering here.
Mr. Kali, your voice is not very audible. Can you just take this little closer?
Now, is it okay?
Yeah, this is better.
Yeah. Sri Atul Kumar Gupta ji, a staunch leader, has risen to the highest echelon of accounting profession to acquire a position of President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for the year 2021. The second largest accounting profession in the world after its being Vice President for the year 1920. He has served the accounting profession for more than 2 decades and is widely respected for his strong organization skills and deep insights in the affairs of the profession. A commerce and law graduate by education, under his stewardship, the Institute has formed a new scheme of education and training for the CA, was benchmarked with the revised international education standards, and it was launched in the year 2017. With deep interest in the research, Sri Gupta ji is credited for the project of preparation of accrual-based accounting financial system of the Indian Railways, the third largest railways in the world, and has been the director of the governing board of Indian Institute of Insolvency Professionals and Registered Valuers Organization. With his diverse and deep knowledge, he has served various governmental bodies in the past, and he was the first chairman of the Accounting and Financial Services Section Committee constituted by Bureau of Indian Standards, and has been a member of Government Accounting Standards Board and also the IRDA and SEBI's Primary Market Advisory Committee. On the international front, he is on the board of International Federation of Accountants and recently has become the president of IFAC. He is also on the board of XBRL International and also on the South Asian Federation of Accountants, SAFA, representing ICAI in International Integrated Reporting Council. He was earlier the chairman of Committee on Education, Training and CPD of SAFA. Being thoroughly conversant with the professional concerns and demands of his times, C.A. Gupta has authored many relevant books and has published numerous articles in leading newspapers, magazines, and professional newsletters, and delivered lectures in more than 1,500 seminars and conferences. Friends, this is a very brief profile of Sri Atul Kumar Gupta ji. And before I invite him to address, I would also introduce C.A. Dayaniwas Sharma, and then I'll request Gupta ji to address the gathering. The second speaker of the day, C.A. Dayaniwas Sharma, he is a Central Council member of the Institute and is a managing partner of Lakshminiwas & Co. Chartered Accountants, Hyderabad. It's also a very brief profile. He's the chairman of Peer Review Board. He's the chairman of Members and Student Service Directorate, including SSP at the Institute. He's the vice chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, vice chairman of Financial Reporting Review Board, board member of Quality Review Board, and board member of XBRL India, and is also a member of UDIN Directorate and Digital Transformation Process Reengineering Group at the ICAI, and is the chairman of Center of Excellence at Hyderabad, and is a member of multiple central committees of ICAI. As a professional and on the personal front, C.A. Dayaniwas Sharma qualified in the year 2005 and has undergone articleship in the firm Pricewaterhouse. Thereafter, he has reviewed the firm Lakshminiwas & Co. and has built a firm where his contribution to the firm is more than, from the firm is more than 100 CAs in the last 15 plus years. This group is one of its kind and is called Indian Multinational Firm or Make in India Firm of Chartered Accountants. He's been covered by the Coffee Table Book and recognized as Young India Visionary by IMG Innovative Media Group in the whole of UAE. At ICAI and national and international forums, he took sessions and seminars of more than 25 topics and is an avid speaker. And I'm sure today he would enrich us with various initiatives of Institute and the activities which will help the business to associate with the profession. With this brief profile of both the gentlemen, I would now request Sri Atul Kumar Gupta ji to address the members. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Naresh Gailey ji, the Honorable Chair of the Corporate Law Committee of our FTCCI, the very respected President of FTCCI Ramakant ji, and all the distinguished colleagues from the FTCCI. My very dear young brother and the dynamic council member who is a gem of the personality, and as rightly being discussed when before the seminar was started, that ocean of knowledge, C.A. Dayaniwas Sharma ji, Madam Sujata ji, Madam Khyati ji, and all the other participants who are viewing this program through this social media and the technology-driven platform offered by the FTCCI. Friends, as the topic which is being assigned to me and we are going to discuss a very, very important topic for the day, that is the MSME sector and how we can reboot the MSME sector and become a catalyst of the MSME sector. As I will take the one sentence given by Srinivas ji, that how the government is supporting and how we have to, what we have to do. So only I will start with the two quotes. to answer and to deliberate. Then what is this? When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So it is the MSME who has to understand that the hospitals, the best of the cancer hospitals, are being made by the tobacco manufacturers. So else I will not speak. So you can understand what I'm trying to convey. So it is that you have to see that when the things are getting tough, it is on us only to see that how we have to sail through from this tough situation. Nobody is going to support us or create that kind of but yes, we have to do the things. Now, what we have to do as a MSME, for example, there is a small trader is there or a small manufacturer is there and facing a lot of challenges into this COVID situation because of the lockdown is there. There are the challenges in relation to the working capital. They have to sustain their business. They have to pay the salaries. They are the backbone of the entire GDP of the country. The more than the employment which they are offering is nobody is offering across the larger industries because they are more the technology driven industries as compared to the labor intensive industry, which is the MSME sector. So it is not that we are going to discuss here that we are giving a charity or assistance to somebody, but I believe that we are doing a human job that if the MSME sector will be there, we all will be there. The society, the entire mankind, the entire society will survive when the MSME will survive, because they are the very, very important pillar in the entire economic ecosystem of any country and specifically India. Now, friends, I will be sharing you my small presentation, a very small presentation which I have prepared for the discussion, today's discussion, that how we have to reboot the MSME. So there are the 3-4 dimensions which we can discuss on the MSME, that how we can promote the new MSME, how we can give a boost to the MSME, and then we can say that how the technology should be imbibed by the MSME, then what kind of challenges are there before the MSME. And the 4th topic, which I am going to discuss today, is about the rebooting the MSME. So now today we are not discussing about the growth of the MSME. We are not discussing about the technological advancement or the various kind of challenges before the MSME, but we are going to discuss that how the MSME should take some actions, as I mentioned you, when the going gets tough. So how they have to survive, they have to face these challenges into this COVID lockdown and the related aspect. So friends, I just mentioned a few aspects which we have, as rightly mentioned by one of your colleagues, that ICAI recently initiated the 3-dimensional approach towards the MSME. One is that we published a very, very important document which is being highlighted even by the international bodies also, that is a rebooting MSME. So how the MSME should think on the various aspects related to their ecosystem. The second one, that we launched a national helpline wherein we are developing the help centers, the facilitation centers for the MSME, wherein the chartered accountants, like for example in Hyderabad, that will be soon operational under the guidance of Dayaniwas ji, that any MSME is facing any problem, there will be the specified dates and the days when time will be there, when somebody can approach them and take the solutions without any charge, without any fees. So that kind of facilitation centers are being already being launched by the ICAI, and very soon all the major cities will have that kind of a facilitation center. And the third one, that we have started a scheme called MSME mentorship program, wherein the chartered accountants are adopting the 1 or 2 MSME and seeing that how they can come out from the challenges which are related to COVID and otherwise, how they can become a net exporters in the times to come. Because ultimately, in case we are looking for a 5 trillion economy, in case we are looking for a Atmanirbhar Bharat, the MSME also has to play a very, very important role into this entire journey of excellence. Now, my dear friends, when we talk about the challenges which the MSMEs are facing in the COVID situation, the most important challenge is the working capital. So it is whether it is Dayaniwas Sharma ji, it is Srinivas ji, it is Atul Gupta or anybody. All of us are facing the challenges related to working capital, because we have to pay the salaries, we have to pay the statutory dues, and there, in spite of there is no sales or no output supply is there, but still we have to incur the certain fixed nature of expenses. So how to handle the working capital challenge is something that I jotted down around 20 points around that, and I will be explaining all of them one by one. with some illustration to guide, to help the MSME that in case, so even if the one aspect they will feel, oh, it's great, if I feel that I'm connected with that, then that will serve the MSME, and that will be my duty to see that the MSME is getting out of this kind of a challenge which they are. First of all, that the MSME should discuss that does your stock require a write down. So what is happening that right now because there are the perishable nature of stocks are there. There are the certain goods which are actually become redundant with the passage of time. So what I am trying to convey you that the MSME sector, MSME unit has to see that whatever the stock was there pre-COVID situation, and after a year, because the COVID situation is continuing from the March 2020 and now we are moving to the May 2021, though in between 3-4 months were like some kind of a leniency was there, some kind of a breathing space was there, but still there are the challenges when there may be the old stock. Now the MSME has to understand that in spite of the stocks books, in the value of the stock which are available in the books vis-a-vis the actual value of the stock, they have to see that what is the exact situation. And accordingly, they have to understand that if there is a written down value of the stock is getting reduced, so accordingly, they have to plan themselves that, okay, the stock will not fetch the same value which was there at the time of purchase of that particular stock. Now, the second point will be that how much reduction in the turnover is expected, because we have to create the budgets. We have to create the revenue budgets. We have to create the capital budgets. We have to plan our future expansion. So it is very, very important that somebody has to do a realistic analysis that in the reduced environment, what will be the reduction in my turnover, and plan the expenses accordingly. So it should not be a case that last year my turnover was 20 crores and this year it will be 20 crore only. And I say, for example, my 70% is expenditure. So tomorrow the situation can be that my turnover will be only 13 crores and I will be in a net loss of rupees 1 crore. So I have to plan what will be my expenses. So expenses can be two natures. One is a fixed expenses, the another is a flexible expenditure, a flexi expenditure. So how I will be able to reduce certain expenditure in case I believe that my turnover will be reduced to an extent. So what I'm trying to convey you, there should be a realistic analysis by each and every MSME that what will be my turnover in the COVID pandemic situation. So what will be my turnover in 2021? What will be my turnover in 2022? What will be my turnover in 2023? So that the reasonable estimates, budgets can be prepared by them. Now, my dear friends, what will happen that there are the cases when the MSME have a specific customers. For example, I'm dealing in a particular product where Srinivas ji is the most important buyer from me. My total turnover is dependent on 30% on Srinivas ji. Let us take rather than Srinivas ji, let us take the example of somebody else, X, because I'm going to give a bad example. Now the X is my main important buyer who is taking the 30% product from me. Now what happened that the X is having certain kind of a challenges, maybe some because of the COVID pandemic or maybe because of some other reasons. For example, the X was exporting, he was buying from me and exporting to the X country. Now the export is being banned because of the certain pandemic related issues. So what will happen? The X is not going to buy from me anymore. And he was a very, very major shareholder into my entire buying. So what I'm trying to convey you that you have to review all your customers that what was the percentage of my buyings and whether he will be like, I will be able to assess that what will be the future order. For example, a chartered accountant. Now I am a chartered accountant. I am dealing in a chartered accountancy advisory services. And if, for example, my 90% business is from the real estate sector, and which is real estate sector is facing a challenge because of the COVID pandemic, certainly my revenue is going to hit because of this situation that the client will not going to pay me as compared to they were paying pre-COVID situation. So I have to understand this aspect that I am dealing in which sector, which type of clients, and whether if there is any adverse impact on my client or my buyer, automatically there will be a hit on me as well. So that is something a study should be conducted by each and every MSME to understand what will be my future turnover and what will be the situation of my various orders, which was there in the pre-COVID environment. Same way the debtor payment cycles. So what is happening that in case I am dealing in a normal situation, I am getting a credit, I'm getting the payment from the debtor within 30 days. But now the COVID situation is there. He is also facing the same problem. He is having certain committed expenses. Say, for example, the statutory dues are there, salaries are there. Now what he will do, will say that, okay, he will say, no, Srinivasji, I will not pay you in 30 days, I will pay you in 60 days, or I will pay you in 90 days. So whether that will impact your cash flow, whether impact that will hit your working capital requirement. Earlier, you were getting the money and you were paying to somebody, but now you are going to receive the money in 90 days or at 120 days. So how you will be able to cope up that kind of a situation, that's something I has to assess, and based on that, automatically develop his working capital requirement. Same way, the next one is the payment to the creditor, because normally you are paying a 30 days time was there for the creditor's payment. But in case you can renegotiate with the creditors that, okay, sir, because I am getting in 90 days, earlier I was getting in 30 days, I have certain committed expenses. So what I will do, that rather than giving 30 days the entire payment, I will pay you 20% in 30 days, and next 20% in the next 30 days, and then rest of the 40% or 60% I will give you in the 90 days time. So based on the, because it's a mutuality, we are living in a Vasudev Kutumbakam, meaning thereby the entire society is my family. So each one of us has to understand, if the debtors are saying that, okay, let us renegotiate the time period, same way for the creditors also, we have to renegotiate the time period to manage the situation that everybody will survive, but everybody will be able, everybody will get the benefit, but at the same time, everybody has to survive as well. So if the unit will close down, if the business will close down, ultimately from where the payment will come, what will happen with the creditor or debtor is nothing to discuss at all. Now, my dear friend, apart from that, there is another aspect which we should discuss as a MSME, that the wages and salary and other statutory dues, how we can postpone. Just to share an example, for the normally chartered accountants, as a chartered accountant, what we are doing, that we are saying to our team that because of the 4 months, 6 months lockdown was there in the earlier occasion also, and now also it is happening from the last 2 months, let me give you the 75% salary or a 50% salary, for by which you can survive. So because you are having a reduction in the expenditure, because there is no to and fro travel is not there, you are not incurring expenses on the travel and other aspects are there. So I'm not saying that I will not pay you the salary, I will pay you only 75% salary, but I'm saying that let us postpone the salary to a certain extent. So what I will do, I will pay you 75%, 50% right now, and rest of the amount will be taken as a loan from the employees, and then 25% or 50% I will pay you once the lockdown situation will be over, and I will start again getting the more business from the market. So what I'm trying to convey you, that when we have certain kind of a wages payment or salary payments are there, some statutory dues are there, how we can postpone the same. I'm not saying that deny. I'm saying only the postponement of the certain amount can be assessed, and that can help the working capital management by our respected MSME owners. Now coming to the cash flow, as I mentioned you that because of the reduction in turnover, because of the debtors are giving the payment late, I can request the creditors to take me, give me more time, or I'm delaying the payment to the wages, salary or other statutory dues. I have to reassess my next cash flow for 3 to 6 months time. So it is very, very important that each and every MSME, right, this is the right time when they has to develop their cash flow statement, that okay, what is going to happen in the next 3 to 6 months time, and accordingly they have to plan the entire business cycles, and everything is there. Same way, they have to develop a gap funding requirement which will be there in the next 6 months to 1 year, so that they can they can plan in advance that what will be my new working capital requirement. Earlier I was a limit of 2 crore, now I have to increase this to 2.5 crore. But otherwise, if you will not do the first 5-6 things, what will happen, that if you will not do these 6-7 things which I have mentioned you will be ending with the taking a working capital of 4 crore rather than 2.5 crore. But if you will do a right judgment, if you will do the right judgment by understanding the working capital requirement, the cash flow, and all these debtor, creditor and the assessments will be there, you will be looking for a less working capital as compared to that without planning, without strategy, you will be going to take the more working capital, and that will again require a more interest outflow as compared to the, I will say, the proper calculation, proper analysis will save you a lot of things. Now, my dear friends, then there are the post-dated checks are there. At times you are getting a post-dated check from the customer, but that can be discounted as well. So I believe that the MSME has to explore that how they can do this post-dated discounting of the post-dated check, because that can help. So you have to do a cost benefit analysis, because the discounting will require some kind of a cost. But at the same time, if you feel that, okay, taking a loan at the rate of 11% or 12%, outside or discounting of the PDC will be more beneficial, because it will require only a few days interest outflow as compared to a recurring outflow at the rate of 11-12%. So then they have to weigh. They have to weigh that, okay, which will be the beneficial per position. So cost benefit analysis of the discounting will be required. Same way that for the bill discounting also, they can always plan for the bill discounting. Again, I will convey you that in case of a bill discounting, again, there will be a cost benefit analysis they have to do, that at times even the MSME sector is not aware. So what I will request Dayaniwas Sharma ji or even the other colleagues also, that you organize some program on the bill discounting or the PDC discounting. What are the avenues are there, what will be the rate of interest, how you have to proceed with, because normally the businessmen are not aware about the bill discounting procedures. What will be the challenges, how you can go, who all are providing, and what will be the rate of interest, what will be your liability, and then how beneficial it will be. So this kind of a small tips being provided to the MSME sector can certainly help, because at times you will find that we are not born entrepreneurs. So maybe we are the first generation entrepreneurs. So we are not aware fully about the various schemes and the various resources, the way of resources which are available. So maybe a situation is there when somebody is doing a small manufacturing or a small trading units are there. They are falling under the MSME category, but they are not aware about the bill discounting procedures, because they have deployed their own capital since beginning, and they are like running successfully their operations. But now, because of this special situation, they are not aware. So what they will go? They will go for a term loan, or they will go for a working capital limit or something, and ending up paying a lot of money to the for the interest. Even they can go for the NBFC or even to a private lender, rather than taking the benefit of this bill discounting scheme. So what I will request there, bhai, that even today also, if on some other occasion, if you can deliberate on a bill discounting or the small way how you can generate the small capital, that is something a very important tool which we should give to the MSME sector to survive in the interest of the entire society. Now then you have to also work. The MSME also has to work that the certain creditors will be in a very challenging situation. So you have to understand how to create the red flags. Because what will happen, for example, some clients are there to whom you are supplying your goods. Now they are dealing in a goods which are actually perishable in nature, or which become practically unusable with the passage of time. For example, you are dealing in a particular line of, you have a line of creditor or a customer who are dealing in a product which is practically unusable in the COVID situation. Now what will happen, that ultimately there will be a shell life, there will be a demand of the customer. Demand of the customer is not there, so nobody is going to stock the entire like the raw material or everything is there. So in case there is a line of business which is getting hit by, the demand of that is getting hit by because of the COVID-19 and the lockdown situation, you have to understand that you have to create a red flag that, okay, this creditor is going to create a challenge for me and there may be a default. So the insolvency process, liquidation process, default may be there on this particular credit. So I have to understand that which creditor. So it is not that you have to assess yourself. You have to assess both the sides of yours as well, the debtors and the creditors, and understand whether if there is any hit on their business, it is going to happen that the hit will also have a repercussion on your business as well. So my request to all my friends here who are listening this program, maybe later on they will take this bites from the YouTube or other channel, wherever you will host, that they have to understand that the hits on the creditor's business is also going to hit you as well. So you have to understand that where you have to create the red flags for the future challenges. Now, my dear friend, then there are the, as I mentioned you, that if you are preparing your cash flow statement and you are understanding that, okay, what will be your budget, revenue budgets will be there. And you feel that earlier, last year, my turnover was 20 crore, but this year my turnover will be only 13 crores. Whereas my regular expenses was 14 crores. So I was having a 30% surplus into my business, or even 10% surplus was there in my business. But now your expenses will be more than the estimated turnover of this particular year, or maybe for the next year, 21-22. In that case, which expenses you have to reduce? For example, the travel and the marketing expenses. As I mentioned by Dayaniwas, that I am the part of the ICAI, and even in the ICAI, we were incurring around 4 million US dollar every year. Expenses on the traveling is there. But this year the overall budget was in a deficit. But because there was no traveling cost incurred, because of there was no traveling in the last 1 year, there was a huge saving on that front. And finally, the estimated budgetary loss converted into the net surplus for the year 2021. So what I'm trying to convey you, there will be certain unproductive expenses which we can always reduce to safeguard, to come out of the challenging situation and bring use them as a safeguard for yourself. So there will be certain travel expenses, there will be certain marketing expenses. I can tell you, for example, you will agree with me that at times we are subscribing certain programs, activities from the online media. For example, you are you want to see the movies, or you want to take the photograph from the Shutterstock. So what will happen that you will subscribe for 5,000 rupees package per month, and you are using that Shutterstock for your various designing work. Now the next 1 year there will not be any designing work per se, and the photographs which available to you is sufficient, but you don't remember that you have given the credit card license to them, that every month they will deduct 5,000 rupees from your account. So there will be certain unproductive expenses, unsolicited expenses, which you may be incurring on a regular basis. So you have to see all your credit card statements, that okay, where there are recurring expenses, the recurring permissions are there, whether you want to continue with that or not. There are traveling expenses, marketing expenses, which will not be of any use, because the marketing will be there when the product supply is there. In case there is no demand, in case there is no like a delivery is not there, is nobody is going to buy your product. Say for example, the food items are there, if nobody is going to buy the food items for the next few months because of the corona fear is there, if you are buying from the market, certainly you have to reduce your marketing expenses. So what I'm trying to convey you, that when you have a fund flow, cash flow statement available, when you estimated your budget revenue, when you estimated your working capital requirement, try to see that how you can reduce your travel, marketing, and other undesirable, I will say inefficient expenditure, or I will say that the expenditure which are not productive in nature. Then what kind of, which expenses could be saved. So you can plan that, okay, certain expenses can be reduced, certain expenses can be completely shut down, that okay, I will not incur the expenditure on this front for next 6 months or something like that. Now, my dear friend, it is very, very important to understand, all of us, that at times we are dealing in a different line of operations. There are certain line of operations which are otherwise very close to me, but they are very, very less margin oriented products are there. There are only 5% margin is there, but the working capital required is too much because of the lot of stock I have to maintain. So for example, you have a 20 crore turnover. In the 20 crore turnover, one line business is 10 crore, the another line business is 10 crore. But for the first 10 crore, you have to maintain every time the 5 crore rupees stocks into your kitty. Now the situation is not good. So you have to see that whether I should discontinue that line of business, which require the more the working capital, as compared to the line of business which required the less working capital and the profit margin is there. I can give you an example just to share with you, because I will not be naming the company, because I am dealing in I have one of my client who is also an MSME. Now, the moment the COVID started, they shifted their operations, which was having a lot of working capital required, and the stockpiling was there. They were into the printing and all these things were there. They immediately moved to the sanitization product, this mask and the hand sanitizers, sanitization machine or something like that. So immediately they moved to a new line of business, which is required, which have the lot more demands. But at the same time, the unnecessary piling of stock was not required. So normally what they were doing, they were importing the papers from outside India, and they were having a stock for the 3 months, 6 months, so that whenever there will be order, they will immediately supply. But now, because that will not be, that the demand is not there, unnecessary piling of stock for a line of business which is not so much productive in these days, we have to understand. So my request will be that every organization should understand that which line of business they are dealing with, whether there are the enough demands are there, whether the more the working capital is required in that line of business. In case I discontinue, so what will be the situation? So let us have we were reading the financial management paper when we were doing the CA examination. So make or buy, continue or discontinue, lease or buy. So there were the different type of studies which we were doing on a discounted cash flow factor, NPV, or we were calculating. So my request will be that to take the support of the finance professionals, the experts, and see that whether you want to continue that line of operations, or even if you will buy and sell. So right now you are manufacturing, so you are piling a lot of stocks. But now, because of the COVID pandemic, unnecessary piling of stock will not serve any purpose. And even you can continue into that line of business by making a buy rather than Manufacturing, you are buying and selling just to ensure that for the next 6 months, I will do only this. I will buy and sell rather than keeping a stock, so that I will be able to manage my working capital for my other line of business, which is more productive in nature. Same way, there will be a case because of the overall some kind of a recession is there. I'm not saying the correction in the GDP and all these things are there, but I'm saying that normally because of the less demand, there are a lot of discounts which are being offered by the various manufacturers and the producers of the various goods. The same way this is happening with the MSME sector also. You can see a lot of sales, online sales are happening, that okay, somebody is giving. So today morning also I was looking for some product, and I was looking that okay, normally I am buying for 25,000 rupees. The special offer of 16,000 rupees was given in a particular website. So what is happening that there are because of the less number of demand is poor. So everybody, because they have the enough stock available, they have to maintain their working capital. So they are at times they are selling the goods at a cost to cost basis just to have a working capital flow of working capital, which is happening. Now you were supposed to buy a machine pre-COVID period, but you were not buying because the cost of the machine was so high that you are not having that resources available. But now you have to keep a good eye on the market, that okay, in case there are 20% discounts is there on the same product because of the COVID and the less demand, this is the right time to buy the capital goods as well. So what I'm trying to convey you that this is not only that you have to mitigate the challenges posed by the COVID, but also this can become a good opportunity for also you to expand and do some working capital expense, do some capital acquisition when the prices are reduced because of the low demand or some other factors are there. Same way, you have to see that which product is, as I mentioned you, which product is giving the more cash flow. So as I mentioned you, a guy who was doing a printing job, large scale printing job, industrial printing job, and because the demand is not there, they have shifted to the creation of the hand sanitizer, mask, and even the sanitization machines. So you have to see that in case there is a heavy demand for these type of products are there, you can always migrate yourself for a limited period, or you can start a new line of business which will bring the more cash flow into your business. Same way, capex expenses. So at times you are incurring the certain capex expenses. There is a plan that okay, I will buy the second printing machine, I will buy this die machine, in the lathe machine in the times to come. So you can always postpone the capital expenditure to a certain extent that is possible, that to manage your working capital. So unnecessary buying the capex when the demand is not there or the demand is very less. So you can continue with your already available infrastructure. Then please try to see that how you can manage your capex expenditure. My dear friend, now coming to the one more aspect that okay, how you can generate the revenue from your own infrastructure which is available. That is the, say for example, you have a building. Now, right now, pre-COVID period, I was running my office in the 4-floor space. But now because of the staff is not coming in the next 1 year, the staff is not going to come. They are working from home, and now I have the 1 floor which is vacant, which is available and vacant, which is not being used, is not going to be used even for the next 2 to 3 years. So what you can do, that you can always plan that whatever the available resources are there, infrastructure is there. Say for example, for the ATM, for the like as you want to have a tower on your roof, you can give a floor to on a rental basis. So you have to explore the new source of revenue from the already available infrastructure in such a way that you can create a new line of business. You can create a new line of flow of the money from the existing infrastructure also. So try to see around you that okay, you have this, you have that, you have the 10 properties available, you have the 5 factories available, you have this 3 infrastructure somewhere available. Try to see that how they can become. So as rightly mentioned by Warren Buffett, that you should not be working for money. The money should work for you. So what I'm trying to convey you that you have to see that whatever the infrastructure available to you, how that can be utilized optimally, better productivity can be achieved from that kind of resources which are available. Now, same way that as I mentioned, you analyze the impact of a loss of a major customer. As I mentioned you that you have to see that in case a major customer is having some kind of a challenges, some casualties are there, or some like they have stopped their operation, then what will be the impact on the sales and the margin on that particular. So this is something I have discussed with you. I will just urge my all MSME colleagues that you have to develop the best and the worst case scenario. And then you have to analyze that, okay, what will happen in case there will be a worst case scenario. And if something is not happening, then you are in a fine position. So you can continue with the same. Same way, you have to consider how we can develop the new customer. So explore that in case I will change my line of operations, or right now I was dealing only in Delhi, but if I can explore myself to expand my reach to the Delhi NCR or even some other cities also, in that case, I will be able to survive. I will be able to replace the lost orders from the new customer. So what is like, try to see and then to explore the new customer, how I can use the technology. So maybe there I can speak on that developing the e-commerce portal, or using the technology to bring in the new customers. Even on a social media, I can see that the LinkedIn or other social media are using fantastically to generate the new leads or the new customer. For example, I was just looking for for example, I want to buy something. So gradually, I moved to a site called India Mart, which is offering a e-commerce shops like we are having. So immediately I placed an order. I received the 10 replies from the different suppliers that, okay, we are ready to supply you this particular. So you see that how the new marketing channels can be developed using the technology, without the technology. So that is something that every MSME has to see, that how they can develop a new customer line of customers into the same way. The new products, developing the new products, or out of the box new thinkings can be there. I can see that a lot of startups are starting, which are not only developing the new products, but they are developing the new way of delivering the product. So for example, I came across with a startup which is developing the t-shirts from organic material. Like there are a lot of organic products are happening in the market. So you have to see that how you can develop the new product into the business, which can fetch the new revenue, the new source of revenue for our MSME sector. Now, my dear friends, coming to the last leg of my suggestion on the working capital side, that there are the clauses in the contracts where the liquidated damages are clauses there. So you have to see that whenever you have a contract, for example, with the NHAI or from somebody else who has given you a clause of a liquidated damages, that they will claim the liquidated damages. In that case, you have to see that how you have to save yourself from the liquidated damages. So there are the clauses which are giving that is a force measure, or otherwise is an act of God, and then the liquidated damages will not be there. So my request to you that tomorrow, if you will get a notice of a liquidated damages, better to understand your contract, review the contract, and I will request thereby that you please speak on something on the liquidated damages, that how they can save themselves from the liquidated damages, which will be tomorrow some notice will come to them because you have not supplied the goods, or you have not manufactured as per the agreed quantity, and now you have to pay the liquidated damages. Specifically in the pharma sector, because there is a lot of challenge, so liquidated damages can be there. So how our MSME units can save themselves from this liquidated damages clause is something there. Then you can always use the force measure clause when you have to negotiate the rent agreements, because it's an act of God. The COVID-19 is an act of God, and force measure clause always carry a implied benefit, that in case there is an act of God, you can always say that, okay, sir, please see that if I have to negotiate my rent. So earlier it was 70 rupees per square feet. Now I will be able to pay for next 24 months. It's a 50 rupees. I can just share with you that even the landlord will not be able to get the new tenant in this COVID situation. So it's a win-win situation for both of them, that as I mentioned you, the survival of everybody is important here, rather than somebody is getting the profit and somebody is getting wiped off. So even if the X wiped off, impact on the Y will certainly come. So it is that we have to lower down our expectations and then survive for the next 24 months, so that we can sail through from this challenging time, and then we can grow maybe after 24 months. Then you can consider the lease break options also. You can always explore the payment deferrals because of the force measures. And then you have to see that how you can outsource certain activities. So for example, you are doing a manufacturing process and you have a packaging facility within your organizations, but that is taking a lot of space, a lot of working capital is involved into that. You have deployed 20 employees also for doing these packing facilities. Now you have to do a cost, as I mentioned you, the financial management, the make or buy. So you have to do a way analysis. And again, I will request thereby to guide our colleagues on this make or buy, that how you have to decide on a working capital, the financial management, the capital budgeting chapter, which we read while we are doing the CA, that in the discounted cash flow, the NPV, that at times you feel that, okay, for the next 6 months, I will outsource my packing facilities to somebody so that it will be a net positive impact on me. So right now the packing, say for example, the packing cost is 5 rupees. If I have deployed 5% and all these things are there, but carrying a lot of working capital requirement. But at the same time, if I'm buying at 5 rupees 20 paisa from outside and I'm saving a lot of interest and others, then it is better to save to incur 5 rupees 20 paisa as compared to 5 rupees internally. So these are the few suggestions as I can give to MSME sector. I am not the expert of the MSME sector. As you can notice that I'm giving the but I'm trying to give you the some of the ideas based on my personal experience working in the ICAI and working on the various projects related to MSME. You are all the champions and all daily dealing day in day out on the dealing with the MSME. But the few thoughts were there for my side on the working capital side of the MSME. Then we can also discuss about the MSME, how they can become a net exporters. So what are the various requirements to be an exporter? As I explained in this slide, that you have to take a IC number, import export from the for a DGFT. You have to require a GST number, and then you have to also become an authorized dealer from the banks so that you can get the money from there. And then there are the other requirements. For example, the trademark has to be registered. It is better to be a trademark registered, and then you have to see that there are a number of schemes are being offered by the government for the refund of the GST or the zero duty tax, and then you can claim the refund. Duty drawback schemes are there. So what are the various schemes which can offer our which can be used by our MSME? A separate session should be there so that we can list down that these are the 20 schemes which are available to the MSME in case you want to export. So what I'm trying to convey you that, say for example, you want to export certain goods to Africa, and even I can tell you that again thereby can be very, very important contributor into that direction, because the ICAI has a presence in most of the African countries as well, wherein our chartered accountants are doing a flourishing career. They are connected with the various clients. So at times I was thinking that since they are connected with the various potential customer from India, target Africa, or I will say the focus Africa can be the policy from our side. And then say for example, our Chinese counterpart or any other counterpart is selling a product of ₹100, and normally our price is 110. But with the all benefits, which thereby I will urge you and all the other colleagues from the chairman, President sir and Nareji, that if you will be able to explain that these are the 15 rupees benefit which will be available to you, your net price will become 95. So before scheme, it will be 110 as compared to our counterpart, who is offering in 100 rupees. But after the scheme, after the benefits, the price may come down to 95. So our product will become competitive as compared to our counterpart, and then we can sell more into this export. So I only urge my MSME that you please take stock of all the schemes which are available for you, and then calculate the net price on which you can bill. So that will be, I believe that will be a wise decision on your part, a strategic decision on your part, that okay, taking benefit of all these schemes which are available, whether I will be able to compete with the international players or not. This is something that I believe that can do a lot of boost to the export. At the same time, I just wish to apprise you, the ICAI, like the apex body of CII, SOCHM and the FTCCI, the ICAI chapters are being recognized by the Government of India, Ministry of External Affairs, for all the missions or offices abroad, meaning thereby the chartered accountants can be the important part of the embassy at the global level, and they can play a very, very important role in facilitating the exports from India. So I will urge only that in case we can have some meeting, for example, Focus Africa. So we can request all the other African chapters to have a meeting with our exporters, MSME exporter from the FTCCI, and they can have some kind of an online networking meet wherein they can explore that how, are you able to hear me? Yeah. So you can, because pictures were not coming, so I was feeling that whether I'm speaking alone. So, so how you can become a catalyst in bridging that gap of and making our MSME units net exporter. Friends, before I conclude, there are the number of aspects wherein I can speak on the GST, but time is not there. I have already taken more than 45 minutes, which are being scheduled to like I have to speak, and thereby and other colleagues are there who are going to speak, but only 6 mantras which I wish to give to my MSME, that see the you are aware that at times you feel that okay, whenever you are going to go market and certain packagings or the quality of the products are attracting us, in spite of the prices are high, we are ready to buy that. So please try to see that the projection of your product should be very good. It should be a case that okay, whosoever is looking your products should feel that okay, I want to buy this. So the packaging and the presentation of your product is also very important apart from your quality. So please try to see that whenever you are doing a packaging, so packaging is not only a physical packaging I'm talking about, it is about the which soothe the eyes, which soothing the eyes. So it should be a fascinating, yes, attractive packaging. Attraction should be there in your product. So not only the quality, but you have to present your product very well. That is something that we have to see. Same way, you have to improve your market image. So it is very, very important that you have to work on the market image of your company, your organization, as well as your product. So you have to continuously work on the image building of your product and your line of production, as well as your company. That will fetch the new business later or sooner. Then the very, very important is a prompt delivery. Today, when we are giving an online order, next day I'm getting delivered the product, which otherwise if I will go to the market, it will take days. The time was there when you will give an order to say, for example, I am based in Delhi. I'm giving an order to a company in Hyderabad. They are saying it will take 7 days to deliver. But if you will offer to an e-commerce site, they are saying tomorrow I will deliver. So they have created a logistic chain in such a way that from wherever you will order, they will give you the supply within the next day or the next to next day. So practically the day after tomorrow. So practically the delivery will give you. So whether you are a service provider, thereby will agree with me, Naresh Geliji will agree with me, that somebody is asking an opinion from me and I'm saying it will take 20 days. Somebody is asking to draft an appeal for me and I'm saying it will take 2 months. Nobody is going to come to me on the next time. So what I'm trying to convey you, the delivery is very, very important. The quality delivery, the prompt delivery, the efficient delivery is very, very important. So we should focus that whenever there will be an order, it will be an efficient delivery. Then take the feedback, because the customer is the king. So when you will take the feedback, and in case you want to take a feedback, develop a mechanism when the online applications are there. There are the open applications are there, without cost applications are there. There are the SaaS model which are available in the market. How you should take the feedback. I will request thereby also to touch upon this aspect, that how effectively the feedback can be used to improve your operations and using the technology. Something if you can deliberate maybe for a few minutes to guide our members, because the feedback is actually very, very important. Today we are going to the hotels. Everybody will agree. Naresh Geliji will go to with the family in a hotel where the ranking will be 4.3 or plus, 4.5 plus. He will not go to the hotels where the ranking is only 3. So feedbacks and the badging of that feedback to your product, that okay, I have the 5-star rating, I have the 4-star rating. See, whenever you are buying from the e-commerce, you are reviewing the feedbacks. You are looking that okay, how many customers have purchased that product and what is the rating of this. So the rating and taking the feedback and giving a rating and then quickly responding to any kind of a negative feedback is very, very important, which can position yourself, develop your market image. Then leverage customer relationship management and the data. So you have to see that when you are having a lot of data which is available, how many are looking into your website. So like you are aware about the cookies. So in case you are looking some kind of a product, next day, whenever you are opening your mail or your Facebook or a social media, that product is coming on the front of your wall. So what is this? That is something that leveraging the customer relationship or data management. So try to see that how you use the technology to generate the more and more leads, more and more customer relationship managements are being handled. And finally, that consider using the chatbots. What is this? So in case you have a website available with you, somebody is looking into the website, somebody is somebody will send you a mail or somebody will try to call you on the odd hours. But creating a chatbots of 10,000 rupees, developing the generally frequently asked question, it can actually act as a 24/7 operations. So I will request thereby also to guide them that how they can create the chatbots into their website or something like that, which can create somebody is working when they are sleeping. So as the chartered accountants are saying, that ya sapteshu jagrati, the chartered accountant is a profession, is a person who is awake when everybody is sleeping. So at least the chatbots can act as a chartered accountant for them, that okay, when they are sleeping, when they are not, they are off the job, somebody is there who is answering the queries of the clients who are visiting their websites or their product catalog. So say for example, somebody is dealing in the ready-made garments, and somebody is looking for some questions are there. For example, in how many days you will deliver? So when somebody will write a question, the chatbot will say within 2 days. So at least he will get a different kind of a perception about the company, that okay, if I will get within 2 days, it is better to buy from this gentleman as compared to somebody who is not replying. I wrote a mail to them, they have not replied in the last 24 hours, 28 hours, 48 hours. So this chatbot can be a very, very effective tool, and it's cost very less. It is only that we have to develop the process into this. Now, my dear friends, before I sign off, because time I have taken around 50 minutes time as compared to I was supposed to be there for 40 minutes. Now, only point is that in this very pandemic situation, it is very, very important that you are maintaining your records proper, because not only that we have to grow, we have to manage our working capital. We have to see that we are the law compliant as well. So when you are facing this COVID situation, or otherwise also, you are maintaining the proper books of accounts, proper records, which will be a savior for you. So today I can see when we are complying with the GST, not only we have to file our returns or otherwise, it is very, very important that each one of us is maintaining a ITC register, because the ITC register is a register which will be required, the stock register. These two registers will be reviewed by every auditor. Whenever there will be a department audit, department inquiry will be there. These two registers will be asked by the department in each of the case. So it is very, very important that we understand how these registers to be maintained, and very importantly that we are maintaining and preserving all these registers for a longer time, because there will be a 7 years requirement when there will be an audit by the department. So I will not be touching upon more on the GST or more on the compliance part, because the time is not there, but I convey my sincere thanks to the FTCCI Hyderabad, Naresh Geliji, Dayaji, and each one of you for giving me this opportunity to interact and share some of my thoughts about the very, very important very, very important ingredients of our entire ecosystem, the part of the entire system, that is the MSME units, MSME sector, who are playing a very, very important role in the growth story of our country, our alma mater, our entire mankind. Thank you very much to all of you.
So now may I request CA Dayaniwas Sharma ji to address the members.
Thereby required unmute.
Thank you, Naresh ji. Thank you, Atul bhai, for giving a valuable input in totality. I'm really delighted to be part of FTCCI webinar today. My special thanks to Ramakant ji for inviting us in his presidentship. Srinivas sir, thank you very much for inviting us. And more importantly, Naresh ji for coordinating and ensuring that both of us come and share our views. And I'm really happy to see Atul ji sharing his views the way in a very natural and factful, discussions which were there. And Prem Kankaria ji, Dhanyawad, thank you very much. And always it has been interesting to coordinate, talk to you, and discussion or deliberation which happens with you is always valuable and insightful. And Khyati and Sujata ji, I can tell you one thing. My father being a past president of the FTCCI, I can see that people like you are participating, involving, engaging the government, people, and more importantly, professionals like us
who are actually on the other side of the table most of the time. Business is on the one side of the table and profession is on the other side of the table. But getting us together itself is something which is, refreshing and very interesting. And I have seen the engagements which FTCCI is doing under your CEO position and interacting with the government and doing a lot of new and different ideas. Most importantly, Atul bhai, thank you very much. You have touched upon so many aspects. As I always tell Srinivas ji, that Atul bhai is our Sachin Tendulkar, who comes, hits the shots, and goes back to the pavilion and he says, "Chalo, baki tum khelo, hum manage kar lenge." So that is how it is. Basically, if you see his speed, you see his points which have been considered. If you start actually listening to this discussion again and again, there will be a lot of new thoughts which are going to come to the members who are in SME sector, and it's a total different thought process which we need to really. It's time where it is not that you need to relearn or learn something. It's basically first you need to unlearn, which is the most important part. The way we have been doing businesses were being past, that were bygone days, that is yesterday, and today and tomorrow is going to be something very different. And the way he put forward to reassess the entire ecosystem of an organization, it takes me to only one statement, which is basically either you be a business owner or you be a business advisor. I think Srinivas ji, you will agree. You yourself are an industrialist. Today, the most important part is business owner means he knows the business. He can do the best out of it. He might be a technocrat who can produce a high quality job. And we have seen in India, Mission Mangal, which we call, when NASA produced that satellite at a few crores of rupees versus India produced at a very, lucrative amount. So the fact is, a business owner cannot be a business advisor anymore, because business advisory roles have changed now. Time has gone when my father used to sit in his office with a white sheet of paper and put a tea and analyze things and put it very clearly, because the life at that time was not complex. It was not so structured the way it is structured now. It was unstructured market, and most of the thing was on trust and confidence basis. Today, the two words of trust and confidence do not exist in business. Today, the government doesn't want to actually talk, I believe you, you believe me. No, I'm not interested. Right? The first thing which I would like to start my statement is, I would like to ask question to all the people is, if I make a statement saying that India was a democratic country or India was a independent country, will you agree? Or I'll put it this way, India is a regulated democratic country, which is right statement.
As of now, it is regulated.
I just would like to understand it.
It is regulated democratic
right?
now.
Yeah, correct.
Correct.
Absolutely
so
correct.
I have seen Atul bhai talking to the government, and the way forward he shared with the Prime Minister's office, Finance Minister's office, the way he is actually engaged MCA, Reserve Bank of India, C&AG, he talked more about, there is, yes, your expectations are high, but we need to upscale the entire process. It cannot be only professionals. It cannot be only businessmen. A businessman can be an educated person, but a professional has to be educated. And you are talking about an equilibrium point where both have to intersect at one point in time and understand the law, regulations, government expectation, and my delivery requirements. He talked about
very interesting,
so many
very
things.
interesting.
So if you listen to Atul bhai's discussion, I'm not doing anything different. I don't have any presentation. I told Atul bhai only one thing. I love to take points from you, and then I'll discuss and deliberate the points. So wherever if I go wrong here, there, it is to be considered in a very innocent level, and forgive me for that. But yes, Atul bhai, I think again I would like to insist, the last slide you made actually has a lot of value attached to it. What is MSME? Let us understand. MSME definitions have changed. 250 crores is the turnover now. Asset size is changed. And more importantly, just minus the pandemic, right? Sujata ji, kindly go and take statistics from all the banks or RTO office where people have left jobs and purchased Ola and cabs, and they converted into Ola and Uber, and they became entrepreneurs. And if you go back and see their value system, what he was earning in employment versus what he started earning as an entrepreneur, you will find a huge difference. Now the point comes is, I'll go back to Atul Bhai's slide. The fact was, reassess yourself, how the businesses are evolving. Just imagine when we talk about uneducated and uneducated, there is no discrimination in business. Everyone is intelligent enough. So the point is, knowing law is one part, right? The second part is with regards to how do we assess ourselves? When is the opportunity coming? Atul Bhai, very nicely you gave an example. I'll just put that example in a very simple. You talked about leveraging, right, businesses. I'll say it as now competition to be converted into complementing activities, right? Atul Bhai talked about one of the most important part of what, how do you leverage the entire production capability, right? Rather than seeing one person as a competition, if I start thinking about how do I complement my MSME, who's another person who's manufacturing the same good, rather than me producing it, can I actually go and buy it from some other person, white label it and sell it to my customer? You agree, Srinivas? You are from industry. So now, how the mental thought process has to change is something which we need to look into. Might be my production activity is going to convert into trading activity, but my customer is going to be my customer. And inter-exchange of information is only going to get that word which Atul Bhai has used is lean manufacturing activity, where you need to really understand what lean manufacturing activity means. It is not that Japan introduced the concept of just-in-time approach. It actually is being introduced in India, might be way back, sometime we don't even remember, right? So the discussion which I am trying to take towards is coming up from Atul Bhai's presentation only, but yes, putting in my thoughts in a might be a different way. Sikke ke do pehlu, two sides of the coin. One side is what Atul Bhai spoke, and second side is what I am going to speak. But the coin is going to be same. The value of the coin is going to be same, right? Now the other part is what are we seeing in last 7-8 years? Kathy, it is going to be important for you also to look from the Chamber of Commerce point of view, and Sujata Madam, for you also to do one analysis of the transparency which is coming into government with regards to the reporting requirement. You take our Telangana state itself, which spoke for the first time about digital footprint, and that state, our state is the first state to come out on the concept of blockchain. There is a policy which has been defined. No other state has come. Later might be Bangalore has come, but we were the first state. We were the first state to talk about the transition from physical paper to digital paper. When you talk about land records, can you just imagine the size of operation which is required to convert that physical document into digital? Just analyze for a moment. Start thinking. With our government offices in mind, start thinking what is the value add which can go and how much newer opportunities can come. And these all are going to be to greater extent MSME, because large organizations has overhead burden, whereas MSMEs do not have that overhead burden on them. This is something which we need to really understand and apply our thoughts. How and what is the new opportunity which is going to come in? Today, no one can say that I can't use technology. I am sorry. I'll not agree to that fact. The days are gone. Even if my father at the age of 75 is able to appear before the ITAT and CIT on a virtual basis, that means he's adopted technology. You and I have adopted technology. And the worst part and the best part, worst is because the lowest level, and the lowest level of earning people have converted their earning pattern from cash to digital. Agreed or not? Just think about it for a moment. What is the value chain which is getting created? 2013-14, we had, when this Prime Minister came in, or whatever the government policy, I'll not talk about any government as such, policy came in, they talked about 1,13,000 crores of Digital India initiative. Everyone laughed at it. It took only 7 years to convert the digital initiative into a reality. And fortunately, the blessing in disguise is that because of this pandemic, this is actually accelerated and actually moved forward. So friends, please understand, there is no concept of MSME or large. It's only a frame of mind which we need to really start thinking from and start moving towards on new different directions and directives. Now, as I told, from a basic democratic country to a regulated country, there are a couple of challenges which we need to really keep it in mind. And more importantly, from a business owner, you need to either move back or just get one more person in the family who should be the business advisor with the right knowledge in mind, which is the most crucial thing. Naresh bhai, you go and see the statistics. Most of the large organizations do not have CFOs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most of the large organizations, or lot of organizations do not have CFOs today. Then when we want to get a CFO for an MSME, you think that we can afford if the 250 crores worth of also turnover is there, in 25-30% of margin of profit is there, are we able to afford for a right CFO? Days are gone where, in our families, the Munims used to be there, who used to sit and do it very comfortably. We had a lot of trust, confidence in everything. But trust, confidence is not enough. Now we need to have knowledge. Knowledge because you are exposed to a different world altogether. You are actually exposed to a world which is more compliant of law. When you want foreign direct investments to come into India and you expect that I'll not be a regulated body, you give me all kind of exemptions. Prem sir, आप बोल रहे थे ना, हमको compliances कम करना है. Compliances कम नहीं करना है सर हमको compliances के वजह से we have to showcase that we are a strong economy. This is one thing, because transparencies are reported because of the compliance. Let us take an example of GST. And let us take an example, forget everything, sir. First, VAT. No one knew what is there in VAT. We used to file return, but no department. Income tax department was not knowing what is there in VAT. GST department was not knowing what is there in service tax, income tax. Labor law was not knowing what is there in income tax or company law or VAT, whatever it is. There is no linkage which was there between the laws. So please understand, because the time was very simple and straight, and now the time is not complex, I say, it is more regulated. It is not complex. The return is same. Whatever you need to file the data, we were filing on manual basis, which has become system based. That's all. Now, because it is gone in the system, the looping of laws, connectivity of laws, connectivity of department, connectivity to the government, the statistical information which has come out by the state government, by the central government, you and I can't even imagine, because the power to invest in the technology is there with these gentlemen, this government. So what is happening is they are putting in all those things. So considering all these factors, what is it? Do I stop doing business, or do I start thinking differently and see how the compliance can be done, and I increase my revenue sharing in business partner altogether? So the first point which I would like to say is the challenges which we need to overcome is, the first point in that is knowing about compliance, regulatory and laws, which is very, very important. Knowing about compliance, regulatory and laws. Ignorance of law is not an excuse. We have heard this. Non-payment of TDS on time actually attracts 200 rupees, right, Naresh bhai? 200 rupees per day penalty. Whether the value is 100 rupees or 1000 rupees or 10 lakh rupees, 200 rupees is the penalty which is there. So you need to ignore that. So knowing laws, regulations in which we are operating is the most crucial thing. And the most important part is that, today we cannot say that I cannot comply with law. Boss, don't do business then. Be an employee. It's very simple logic. Let us understand the hard fact. If I want to make profits, I also have 8-10 lakh rupees for a qualified chartered accountant, company secretary, cost accountant, whoever it is there. And I need to get one person to sit on the table and desk. People might tell, my organization is short, small. How do I do it? As our Atul bhai talked about, that Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is actually going through a drive, and we'll be more than happy, Srinivas ji, to get associated with Chamber of Commerce to create an hub, which we are telling that we don't want to charge. And there will be our concept on defining this new concept. Just imagine, this is what, when we have been given a tag, partner in nation building, by our honorable, the then President of India, Abdul Kalam ji, he gave the tag. So we wanted to live with the tag very strongly. And if you think that MSME needs any kind of help, and the beauty part is, no businessman or no chartered accountant should feel that the business is getting shifted. Sometimes chartered accountant feel that my business will be taken over by someone. The criteria is mentoring, not making money. Can you just think about Institute of Chartered Accountants of India coming with this kind of thought? Any chartered accountant cannot take that client. So he only has to mentor and value add the entire proposition. So this is how we are actually moving towards giving knowledge to people in a continuous basis. Knowing more about banking, bank financing, or equity raising. We have SME stock exchanges. We have multiple factors. Everyone thinks everyone is doing business. But because some regulatory thing is going to trigger, people are not willing to explore more. I think time has come to explore more. It is important that, a partnership firm, a proprietary concern which is doing 100 crore turnover, is it required to be done as a proprietary concern, or it should be a private limited or a limited company? And reassessment of that is one of the most important part, because today the most factual thing is banks are interested to finance companies rather than getting dependent. And with the IBC coming in, if you want to de-risk yourself, and important, again, Atul bhai talked about one more interesting thing about how we can actually guide our businessmen. Now, example, let me tell you, Prem ji, aap agree karenge, even Srinivas sir, you will agree. The biggest problem for MSME is because they are not having right guidance. They are stuck with their collateral and the personal guarantees which are given.
Correct.
And unfortunately, what is happening is, one business fail doesn't mean that he is actually murdered the entire system. He might fail, that is okay. But unfortunately, his personal guarantees, his entire properties, his entire assets are getting attached. Someone has to guide that person. I appreciate your dream. You agree with you. You live with your dream, but not at a cost of your entire family. You need to create some family trust. You need to move certain properties to that. And how that need to be redefined is something that need to be analyzed, which was again talked by Atul. Right? So this is something which is very important. Understanding banking, financing, and understanding equity raising is something which we need to really work from Chamber of Commerce, which is very, very important. And rather, I would tell you, sir, today we have close to 80 participants. We should ensure that the entire state MSME should be attending your programs. How you market is a choice with you. How do we reach out to those people to educate them? Because if our state is strong, we are strong. If it is not, then there is a problem. So this is something, sir, Naresh bhai, you should actually take up with all our client chartered accountant fraternity, where we are actually engaging people to ensure that those people, sir, I am fortunate to say one thing. I am now made the of a group called Finance Tax Literacy. for the citizens of India. For the first time, we are coming out for this kind of thing. And again, Atul Bhai has guided me in more than one ways. So for the first time, 1st July, we are going to launch something very unique and different, where we are going to reach out to the people, retired employees, how to save their income. They don't know. They only have limited means of knowledge, but there are much more than what is required. MSME, how they need to, right? And many such things which I talk sometime later, right? Then knowing more about government schemes, policies. One request which I have with Khyati with regards to Sujata madam, more than Lakshmi Kanji and Srinivas sir, I was just seeing the site of FTCCI. You know what? The first thing which I found out was on our FTCCI, which is called as Chamber of Commerce, we do not have the state government policies placed in a simplified and understandable manner. I don't know where agriculture, produce can be done. Where is the new park of pharma? Where is stonement? We do not have it on our site. So you cannot guide them by giving to read the entire policy, sir. Srinivas sir, you will agree. I'm sorry, but I'm just sharing my view. Please don't take it in any sense. But I think it is important that we deliberate rather than only discuss.
Correct.
We do not have what are the kind of benefits which are being given by the state. There might be
yeah, we can provide the links. Yeah, we can provide the links. Good.
So that is something which we need to do to ensure that MSME grows in a right manner. Because wo to nahi to dard badar bhatkega. He'll go to one department to another department, other department to other department. But whereas our FTCCI should actually have that information which is placed before them, and might be we need to do industry specific sessions which can give them a guidance and the knowledge in the entire process. Then furthermore, knowing more about importance of credit rating. I was a little surprised that Atul Bhai has not talked about credit rating, but yes, I know he talks heavily on the credit rating side generally. To create a credit rating, today the most important part is that we need to have governance system in right place. He is actually working on one particular beautiful thing, which sometime later we'll come and talk about, very unique and very different. And he is going to be a visionary in that area. Naresh Bhai will call him to talk on ESG, which is the new requirement of, stock SEBI.
Oh.
So the most important part I was talking about the credit rating agency. Credit rating agency are not only required for taking financial facility. The credit rating, if you are getting it done honestly without going for financial rating, if you do it for yourself by paying 1 lakh or 2 lakh rupees of fees, you will actually get to know where are the mistakes and where is the industry benchmark coming. So this is something which we is very need to, really thoughtfully we need to look into. Then knowing more about penalties and prosecutions of various laws. Today, you know that non-payment of PF or non-payment of TDS is a non-bailable offense. Is a non-bailable offense. And there are many such laws which are non-bailable. 25% of the Companies Act has penalties and prosecutions written in that law. Companies Act. Just imagine every law, every law I'm talking, whether it is GST, income tax, anything you talk about, you require understanding of the penalty prosecution as a business owner. You might be technologically very strong, technically very strong. You might be a fantastic pharma person. You might be a fantastic engineering person, but you will not be a fantastic compliance of law officer. So you need to think about how I need to take care of that, because when you go in for certain other things, it actually gives a very good value add when you get your firm due diligence done. When there is a merger, when there is acquisition, when there is a sale opportunity, purchase opportunity, it makes whole lot of difference to arrive at what you want to do and how you want to do. So friends, these are all, very unique things. It is being talked as a buzz, but it is not a buzz. It is basically a self-assessment model. We need to do a self-assessment every time. Without self-assessment, and if we think years together, 40 years, 50 years, what has been happening in the entire business or profession, that will continue? The answer is big no. It is never going to come back. You need to reassess. You need to sit with those people, sit with the deliberation, sit with the thoughts, new discussion, what is happening in the industry. All those discussions are going to matter a lot. Now, one important thing which Atul bhai talked about. Prem sir, Srinivas sir, the point is very simple. We don't have CFOs in MSME, right? So the systems can replace CFOs at a no-cost model. What is that? That is, dashboard mechanism is to be taught to our industry people, because those days are gone where we used to put a small slip in the pocket every day evening, right? That is nothing but a dashboard, right? A small dashboard. My data, creditor, sale, right? Nareshana, right? The retail stores used to keep, I have 4 stores and 4 stores, what is my turnover, what is my sale, this thing, and I put it in my pocket and come back home. Now dashboards are required for decision making. It's very easy. You have already sales system which is there because you need to go for the compliance of GST, right? So automatically the sales purchase cost, my electricity, my rent, my people, my staff, my bhatta, my this, my that, all those can be actually created in a one single sheet of Excel for all the units, and I can collate in the one format and come out with a pie chart or Venn diagram or any kind of thing, which will be a very good decision making. Most of the time, we get into problem and then analyze it. If we are getting into the problem and analyze them, I think you will cut the entire problem which is there. If your store is not making profits, there are four stores, retail store, might be trading activity at Jobi, 4 stores. Out of 4 stores, 3 are making profit and 1 is making continuous loss. I need to cut down this, not wait for love and affection that, how can I stop my store? What will be my name in the market? Nothing. If you are there, then your name is there in the market. Cut it out. Decision making has to change now. It has to be proactive rather than reactive. It has to be continuous, not proactive, I'll say. It has to be continuous rather than reactive. Right? Then data analysis. All this information, whether it is smallest store or the largest. Ek baat batao na Naresh bhai. Ola and Uber driver does his daily calculation.
Right.
Our businessmen also, you go to our Balanagar area or any other industrial belt, they know what they are doing. Only thing is they are missing out in generality. Now generality doesn't work. It has to be specific. That is what again Atul bhai discussion was there in the entire topic, right? So there are many such things which we need to continuously think about and ensure that the process is being set. It is more important that, on a continuous basis, you evaluate your business, expect what is happening, do an analysis of what is happening on day in, day out basis. It is more important that people have to take decisions. Everyone has a dream to grow, but we need to work with that parallelly on the activities which we perform. I fail, I rethink, I perform. I perform, there is a constant growth. I fail, I rethink, I perform, I grow. So that cycle is always going to be there in the entire system. And as I was telling you, the reporting requirements are meaning that only large businesses will exist. I don't think. The most advanced economies of the world, there are also MSMEs. They are also supplying to the larger organizations. They have become, might be a important stakeholder in supplying their goods to lot of companies. When you go and see auto ancillary products which are set up across, and they are made big. They started might be with a small 1 lathe or 2 lathe kind of thing, and they converted. And that is the kind of direction which we need to give them with regards to all this, thoughts which are being talked about. Transition are digitally tracked. Transactions are digitally tracked. Yes, there is no doubt. all these things can be comfortably managed, analyzed, evaluated, learned, unlearned in the entire process. So friends, what I would like to say is in a very simple thing, when I want, and I tell myself as an MSME, but I own a 40-50 lakh rupee car, right? But why I not have a right professional with me who takes might be 4 to 5 lakh? And there is a guidance which is being given to us on a continuous basis. This is something which we need to really evaluate. When we want to pay a professional, there is one saying, Srinivas sir, you should Google it sometime. The cheapest service is the biggest cost. Right? We think that by hiring a cheapest service, by negotiating, getting it, we will only get that set of people. But if I want a true professional to guide, and what are we trying to guide? Our businesses, which we are all dependent upon. If I start thinking about that, automatically the ability to, it is not the ability to pay, it is basically ability to accept that I need a professional is something which we need to really look into. And in this transforming world, the most important part is undoubtedly, I started with that statement, India is not a democratic country anymore. It is regulated democratic country. So I think when things are moving good, I don't know how many people have applied for PLI. At least in Hyderabad, we have worked with very large companies who have applied for the performance link incentive, which has been launched by the government of India under Atmanirbhar Bharat. We have been talking about the benefits we want from the government. Let me ask one simple question to the entire business people, including our professionals, right? What is the volume of tax returns which are being filed in the nation of 130 crores? Expectation is that the government should pay me. But where is the government going to get when out of 130 crore population, I only have 3.5 crore people filing income tax returns? Right? I think when we want to see the growth, it is time where we need to really come into the regulatory environment and see that how this compliance can actually accelerate my business and newer opportunity can be explored. And more importantly, when you have the right attitude, I think the governance is going to change. And once the governance is changed, the credit rating which is going to be given to your organization is going to be high. Once your credit rating is going to be high, your access to the finance is going to be high. Once your access to finance is going to be high, your entire approach and methodology, what you are going to work on the business side is going to be different. So friends, I tell you one thing, MSME, yes, is the biggest backbone of this nation and it will continue to be because it is not different from the world. World also is dependent on MSME and India is also dependent on MSME. And thank you, Naresh Bhai, for inviting me for this discussion. I hope I could put forward my thoughts, my points, what I have learned over a period of time, and particularly in this 2 years staying with Atul Bhai in the institute and coordinating with various committees and looking into a lot of other initiatives. So Srinivas sir, if I have missed out anything, my apology, or I have not met your expectation, further bigger opportunity, apology. I will and look forward for your continuous, we'll be positively as an institute, we'll surely would like to work with FTCCI and whatever support you require, we are always there. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dayaniwas. Prem Saab will be waiting to put his viewpoint forward, and after that, I will give my concluding remarks. Prem Saab, up to you.
Srinivas, I have a few very important points, but I think that others should not be deprived of the point. So, if anybody has a few questions, very, very valid points and very debatable points I have.
Okay, Prem Saab,
so, if you permit, I'll take it up.
One moment, Prem Saab.
Whatever you say, as a chairman, whatever you say, I'll take it up.
Okay, let me first give the viewers a chance. If any of you have a questions, please raise your hand, and I will unmute you, and you can ask your question. Any participants, please raise your hand. I don't see a single one raised here. Only some comments have been made on the chat box, so I think there are no Q&A. Prem Saab, you can go ahead.
I can start?
Yes.
Okay. First thing is that by Atulji, I think fantastic presentation there. You have just jotted down the points and explained how basically it looks like that you are talking from my heart. I am a chartered accountant, but I am industrialist. So the points you have mentioned, it all looks like that is a day-to-day I'm facing. So this is a fantastic correlation and coordination and thought process which you have put in. Now I'll take up a few points which needs probably a discussion. One, I think Atulji is there. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one point which I also raised it earlier is the definition which has come, newly definition, which is a composite definition which is combining what you call it investment in the plant and machinery and turnover both. So this point I raised it one of the with Anuragji Thakur also and with sent representation also. See, if you are tossing either of the two, you are in the next category. Particularly, I say that SSI, if it is a combination of decision 10 plus 50 crores. If somebody is having a turnover of 40 crores, but plant and machinery investment is 11 crore, he'll be promoted to that. Probably need to be discussed in other forums, and then some refinement can be done. Point number one. And second thing regarding you said, I think you have put a lot of stress on the analysis of working capital. I mean, 2 days back, we have sent a representation to the finance ministry. For MSME particularly, I say the way they are calculating the working capital requirement. As of pandemic, we say that it should be based on the cash flow. Otherwise also, I am a practical, I have experience on that. See, I mean, they are taking a lot of, margins on that. Say working capital assets, say stocks and goods are there, 25 to 40%, debtors 40 to 50%. I mean, half of the assets are not being financed. What we requested is for MSME, there should be different norms. There should be different norms, like cover period of debtors. Now in pandemic period, is hardly people are getting money, and your cover period is 60 to 90 days. I mean, your assets are out of the financing. So this is what the working capital problem being faced by the MSMEs. Another important which come is the collateral and the personal guarantee. The other day, I think I was talking to Inanaji also. There was a editorial in Economic Times. Now, I think Dayaniwas can correct me what he wanted to say, that you save yourself and don't give it. I don't think above 5 crores, any promoter and company or MSME can get it without giving collateral. If I'm wrong, somebody can correct me. Point number one. So, I mean, they are left and right, they're taking personal guarantees. I say even listed companies where owner's stake is maybe 25-30%. I have personal example. Earlier, of course, after listing company, they have removed other director, but they have taken all directors guarantee. I removed it. But as a promoter director, I'm still giving a, personal guarantee. Where, my exposure to bank is very minimum. My balance sheet is extraordinarily good. It's a profit-making, dividend-paying company. But as a matter of rule, they are not removing it. This is the point. And then now with Supreme Court decision, where promoter director cannot get rid of, if they are given a personal guarantee, then his assets can be, taken up. This is absolutely, I say the whole concept of the limited liability will go. Dayaniwas can, I think, probably think it of, and I am going to take it this for further forums also, because this is not acceptable. Business failure, as you said, is business failure. Okay. You cannot put your whole life and whole family for just sake of one failure. So that decision itself is not in a good taste. Point number one. Second is, for MSME, if we have to fight it out, we will have to tell government that bank, as a matter of routine, they are taking collateral security and personal guarantee for individual director should be removed forthwith. This is a big hurdle, I say, in promoting the industry in a second scale or upscale. Okay, that's one. And now coming to the last point of compliance, which I have been fighting from the forum of the federations from last so many. You see, compliance is a necessity. I say you don't comply. Compliance is a must. We are a law-abiding people. We have to comply. We should comply. But the burden of compliance, I say, I am a chartered accountant. I can run the industry. I know a lot of laws. My company is 101% compliant. Okay, but then how many people can do it? You need to have another GST, you have to have auditor, you have a chartered accountant, you have income tax, and then a lot of company, compliance are there. Then labor laws compliance are there, so many forms, so many things. Half of the time, I mentioned clearly to the finance minister, my half of the productive time is going in only the compliance. I am having a listed company, very small listed company. How many compliance? Yesterday we had a seminar on SME Forum Capital. I just asked him, what is the compliance cost of SME? Tell me. He was absolutely clueless. No answer to that. What is the compliance cost? I am compliant. But what is the compliance cost to me? I need to have company secretary. I have need a CFO. And even if I know everything, but I need to have company secretary. Then I have to have secretarial audit also. Then internal audit also, which I can do it very well. But you need to have separate outsider. So this is the compliance cost. This is a compliance burden. Half of the time of the product entrepreneur is going in the just compliance. I say compliance is a must, as you said. If you have to upscale, you have to be transparent, you have to comply. But we can reduce the compliance, which is not required. For SME listed company, you can have 6 monthly also.
Sorry to interrupt you, Prem Sahab. I'll ask Dayaniwas Sharma ji to answer your question on compliance.
That's fine, absolutely. I would like to have a reaction on that.
Positively, I love to give it, sir. Positively, I love to give it. Sir, we are talking about the compliance in India. When you talk about internal audit, first, I would like to say that you can have your own in-house internal audit compliance. That's not a problem. Statutory audit is required, tax audit is required, GST audit is required. But in times to come, the way we are looking at, there will be consolidation, which is going to happen very soon. And GST audit is already gone, right? So the compliance is gone. But again, chartered accountant practice, I would say that I am happy because at least what was happening is before the regulator was coming, before the department was coming, we were actually coming and setting right things. But now the business has to directly look into the department people only. I don't want to talk further about it. Now the part is, let us do a comparison between India and which country you want. You tell me, which country you want. You want United States of America? You want Singapore? You want Dubai? You want which country? आप बोलिए. अब मैं उस country के साथ बात करूंगा और मैं आपको ये prove कर दूंगा कि Indian compliance are the easiest when compared to those country compliances. Singapore, if you have to open a bank account in your individual name, if you are opening a company on your individual name, not company to company, individual name. Premchandji Kankaria, if he is going to Dubai, Singapore and opening a company on his individual name, it takes not less than 3 months to open a bank account, sir. I am talking about 3 months to open a bank account. I am talking about a country like Dubai, the kind of cost compliance which is there. If you hire one particular person, the entire portal has a very, and you know what? आज हम हमारे इंडिया में आपकी 5 कंपनी हो सकती है, आपकी 5 कंपनी हो सकती है एक ही एड्रेस पे, दुबई में नहीं हो सकती. Till the time you have the same sponsor.
Sir, Dayaniwas ji, this analogy probably, yeah, please.
मेरी बात सुनिए. So when we are talking about the compliances, when we are talking about reporting requirement, I also have one more question. I made a point. 130 crore population and 3.5 crore of income tax return. आप बहुत अच्छे हैं, but बाकी का क्या? Is one thing which is something which we need to understand. And I think compliance cost is not much, sir. It is not something which cannot be controlled or you do the totaling of your compliances. And what is the outcome which is coming out? You will get a benefit which is coming out. Today, tax collections which are happening because of the GST, I'll tell you something very simple. If you want me to talk on specific act, I can talk GST law. What it said, the exemption limit for registration of any GST dealer is 20 lakh rupees, which includes exempted income. Why it has been done? Can we think about it? How many people have maintained multiple fixed deposits in multiple banks by giving wrong declaration that this is the only income which I generate and didn't pay taxes? So, point what I'm trying to tell, sir, आपका जो concern है well taken, but fact is we meet with other countries and what easy it is in our country to come. There is no answer to it.
Okay, sir, I think we are running against time, so I'll summarize it up, if that's okay, because no more questions have come. Just a couple of them have come and I've answered them. First of all, point by point, sir. Dayaniwas ji, for your digital transformation, yes, we absolutely agree that's the path to go, and probably India is going that way. And another 3-4 years' time, you will find a lot of MSMEs going the digital path. With respect to your CFO services, yes, most of the businessmen, entrepreneurs, MSME owners are very passionate about the business, and they ignore the financial aspect of it. So basically, shared CFO services, which is now catching up. I think ICAI should be doing much more to ensure that shared CFO services are available to MSMEs at a certain cost, which is low. And then we can ensure that equal importance is given to finance, like other parts of business. Third one, in terms of de-risking, yes, the owners have to de-risk themselves. They have to separate their personal income from their family income. That is something which knowledge seminar we need to organize through our various forums. Maybe we'll call you over to ensure this understood very well by the owners. How do they de-risk themselves financially, especially with this draconian law coming in, where Supreme Court has passed a law that you will attach the personal assets of an entrepreneur. So with this, it's more relevant now to talk about it.
Certainly, sir. We have to rope in some government official in that, please.
Yes, we'll do that. And
Thank
with
you.
respect to compliance, I beg to differ with Dayaniwas Sharma ji. I will second what Mr. Prem Kankaria says, because we are coming from an MSME perspective, right? I'm not against compliance, because I myself sold off my company to a Japanese multinational just a couple of years ago.
Yes, yes, yes.
By virtue of being very diligent in terms of regulations and compliance. But what kills an MSME is duplication in compliances. There is 45,000 compliances in India. Obviously, 35,000 of them are redundant. They should be done away with. 2, criminalization of something which is very, very basic. They should decriminalize a lot of compliances. The fear of criminal activity should not be there on a person's mind when he wants to innovate and grow. This is something which is, every MSME owner, sir, because we are on this side of the table, like you said, you are an advisor, we are the owners, we are on this side of the table, we know the pain of compliance. This is something that the government of India has to do. Fortunately, they're going in the right direction. They put a committee now. They want to reduce it to less than 5,000 compliances. Let's wait for better days on that. In terms of leveraging business, you're right. More than what the government can do, let's look at what we can do for ourselves. And that's what the vision of most MSME owners are. They don't depend on government subsidies, but having promised some, they wait for it. But otherwise, MSME owners keep struggling day in and day out to ensure they grow. We have a missing middle. We have very micro units. We have large units. The missing middle is there, like typical middle class. That is where we need to go into next orbit. Now, I'll just come and give you the vote of thanks, sir. Atul Gupta ji and Mr. Dayaniwas Sharma, the great Jugalbandi. Mr. Atul Gupta ji has actually talked about critical and analytical thinking. He raised questions making us critically and analytical thinking, whereas you have actually induced the creative juices. Basically, a creative thinking versus critical thinking. That's very nice, Jugalbandi. I'm sure this 80-odd participants would benefit from it. Thank you so much, both of you, for enlightening us for the last 2 hours. I thank Mr. Naresh Gilli ji for bringing this forum together.
Exactly, correct. Srinivas ji, एक sentence बोलूंगा बस.
Please.
एक sentence. Sir, Dayaniwas ji and Atul ji and Srinivas ji, I would say, then what we are talking of the compliance, and I'll say in India, honesty and compliance, even if you are 100%, is not being recognized, and it has got no value. If you want, I can discuss with you on any forum. Let me tell you, it's not being encouraged and not being recognized also. I can tell you, even if 100 compliance is there, you will still get show cause notices. So it is not being recognized. Thank you.
Dayaniwas Sharma, I'm sure you would recognize the passion that this particular topic brings in Mr. Prem Kankaria. Probably offline, we'll discuss that. And thank you so much for both of you. Naresh Gilli ji, thank you so much for organizing this. And
thank you very much for accepting and allowing this program under MSME committee.
Thank you, sir. And President Sahab, Ramakant ji,
thank
you so much for allowing it. And the CEO and Deputy CEO and other digital.
I think we had a fantastic program today.
Fantastic program. Thank you so much. And I'll call it a day. Have a great weekend ahead.
I would like to acknowledge my thanks to Dayaniwas Sharma Garu and also Atul ji Garu. Sir, Dayaniwas Garu, whatever suggestions you have given for FTCCI, we will surely take it up and then see what we can do. Definitely our website will be improved, and then we will upload whatever policies and information that is required by the business, maybe in a very comprehensive way. Thank you. Thank you so much for the suggestion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Atul Gupta sir, and thank you, Dayaniwas ji. Thank you, Srinivas sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We take leave.
Thank you, Kyati
Thank you,
madam.
everyone. Yeah, thank you. Stay safe.
Yeah. Good weekend to everybody, please.
Thank you all.